We will get to Donald Trump Jr.'s trip to Greenland in just a moment, but we begin with Donald Trump's new legal fight just a day after Congress officially certified his election win. Trump's lawyers have reviewed a draft of the special counsel's final report on two federal investigations into the president-elect. They're now trying to block the report's release and threatening legal action if it's made public. CNN Chief Legal Affairs correspondent Paula Reed joins me now. Paula, tell us more about this report, when it could be released. Why do they want to block it?
So we expected that this would be released on Friday, but what has happened here is that Trump's lawyers are saying, no, not so fast. Because look, the special counsel, he is required by regulation to release this report detailing his investigative decisions. This is the same thing we saw with Robert Mueller. It's the same thing we saw with Robert Hur, who investigated President Biden. And it's up to the attorney general, once he or she receives the report, whether they make it public. And it was expected that Garland, like he has with other special counsel reports, would make this one public. But now Trump's co-defendants are trying to block the release of this report because over the summer, some people may remember that the Trump-appointed judge, Aileen Cannon, ruled that Smith's appointment was improper, illegitimate. Now that, of course, was appealed, but it was never resolved because Trump was reelected. His case was dismissed. That question is just hanging out there. Now, as you noted, his lawyers were able to review the report. Of course, they weren't happy with it. They're calling it a one-sided narrative. Of course, it's a one-sided narrative. It's the prosecutor's report, but they are asking for an emergency hearing on this request. And we expect later today the special counsel is going to weigh in. They're likely going to emphasize the attorney general's power over this report. But there is a legitimate legal question here, Jim, and it is one that has never been contemplated in the history of the United States. And that is when a special counsel is deemed ineligible by a judge and that is appealed but never resolved because the defendant is elected president. What happens? Can he release his report? No one knows, Jim. So this is a question that could be litigated, but in terms of the time it takes to answer this, they don't have much time. They have about a week and a half, and it's possible that we could play out the clock here. Trump becomes president, and that report is not officially released. So we're watching this very closely.
Yeah, so if his team takes over the Justice Department, that release has not occurred, they could just say, we're not releasing the report, and that's it, it's done.
I mean, they've made it pretty clear that anything related to Jack Smith is going to be tossed. There are still the two cases with the defendant, the co-defendants, but I think there's a lot of pressure on Merrick Garland because he has been widely criticized for not moving quickly enough on the Trump cases. What is he going to do here? Well, this is now appears to likely be in the hands of a court that has jurisdiction over the attorney general over a case that he is overseeing. So it's not like he can just decide to go at this on his own. Or maybe he does. Maybe that's the last chapter of Merrick Garland. He goes rogue, but I highly doubt it.
Historians are going to spend a lot of time chewing over whether he was too judicious, took too much time with all of this. We'll, of course, continue to follow. Paula Reed, thank you so much. One of the most